Hello everybody and welcome back to another new vlog. Thank you for joining me once again. I've just started my walk at the Clifford Arms pub, which is just up the road behind me here. I've taken a journey to this spot previously and actually finished a walk at the pub there, but this time round I'm starting at the pub, and on my previous visit here I did a walk which finished there, but I didn't actually do a full circular walk. There's another little stretch of the walk that I hadn't completed, which I'm going to complete today, and that'll be at the end of this video. But basically, yeah, I finished up at the Clifford Arms pub. I'd started over on the far side of the Shugborough estate in Staffordshire, and then I walked from there through a small section of Cannock Chase, and then finished up walking through Little Haywood and Great Haywood up to the Clifford Arms pub. Well, today what I'm doing, I'm starting at the Clifford Arms, following my route back the way I came previously, and then when I get to where I'd started the route from there, I'm going to carry on back up towards Great Haywood at the other end of the walk, through the Shugborough estate and up to the Clifford Arms pub and finish there. I'm currently walking along the towpath of the Trent and Mersey Canal, and just to my right, over in that direction, I've got the River Trent itself, just literally about 20 yards away from me. And in a few moments I'll be crossing the River Trent and heading up the road towards one of the entrances to the Cannock Chase Park. So I'll be probably onto Cannock Chase itself in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm really trying to speed this walk up a little bit as well. Last time I came here I stopped several times to try and find my bearings and to try and capture some interesting photos. I'm glad I did, because I got the photos that I wanted, but today I might not necessarily need to stop every few minutes for finding my bearings, working out where I am and things like that. I can just follow the route, just reverse the route as I did it before, so it shouldn't be too difficult to shave a bit of time off, and that gives me a bit of extra time at the end to carry on through the Shugborough estate back to the Clifford Arms at the end. A quick word of caution to all of you budding landscape photographers out there: you do have to consider the conditions every time you go out and where you're going to go, and make sure you know your route. Just behind me there is a shooting range, and I believe it's actually an RAF shooting range, but obviously it's only just a few hundred yards away from me here, and I know that my route will take me quite close to it, and you can hear the gunfire in the background, and quite honestly I'm quite close now that I can smell cordite in the air with every new round of bullet fire that I hear. I'm not in any danger, and I knew that before I started the walk, because like I said, I've been here before and I've researched the walk anyway, so I know for a fact I'm not going to be walking into anything over there. I'm heading in the opposite direction onto Cannock Chase now. I'm actually on Cannock Chase, but I stopped at this spot because I found a composition that I missed the last time I was here, and I'll set the camera up and show you that composition in just a moment. So that is my composition behind me. There's a tree. I don't know how you can see, it's all gnarly, and branches are all bent and skew-whiff. It's lovely, but it's got this beautiful shape to it. I don't know if you can see any better now. It's behind me somewhere there, and the idea is that there's a branch, quite a big branch, in front of the tree on the path that's just kind of leading your eye kind of away from the tree, but making your eye also follow the branch on the tree itself that sticks out from the side of the tree and works its way over along the path. And that's a really interesting shot. So that's 24 to 25 lens at 35mm, f4, 1/30th of a second, and ISO 100. I also took a handheld shot of that in a portrait orientation. I'm not sure the portrait orientation works properly, because with that I've had to cut off one end of that branch that sticks out of the tree and one end of the branch that's on the floor as well. So I don't think that works very well. but I just thought it looked quite good with the portrait orientation, although the composition doesn't work properly. Earlier I was mentioning the canal towpath upon which I started my walk this morning. Along that route, obviously, like I said earlier, I was quite close to the River Trent, and I was on a canal towpath as well. And as a result, with it being January, the conditions underfoot were very muddy. I wouldn't say treacherous, because at least there were spots where I could watch my foot in and I wasn't surrounded by water all the time, but they were quite muddy anyway. But then after that canal towpath, I had to negotiate a very busy road as well. So these are kind of the things that you have to consider whenever you're out on a landscape photography walk yourselves. And I mentioned the gunfire earlier. You'll probably still hear it in the distance now for a little while, but crucially it's getting further and further away now, so I'm in a much safer position, and I'm also now on a path where I walked down last time I came here and I was walking the opposite direction, so I know where I'm going now. And knowing your route basically is all important on a walk like this. Knowing the route, the conditions, and where you're going to go to. Anyway, I'm going to move on, and I know that there's going to be another composition a little way along here, but I also think there may be one before that as well, so I'll move on. Here on Cannock Chase there are many different paths that lead off in all kinds of different directions from main paths, and some of those are just walking paths, some of them are paths that don't really lead you anywhere and you have to turn back and come back on yourself. Some of them will be paths that are designated for mountain bike trails, and the trouble with that is they're designated only for cyclists to use. So if you find yourself on one of those paths just as a pedestrian, you've got a very good chance of causing serious injury to yourself or to cyclists in the area. So that's another very important point about knowing your route when you're on these walks. I know the route. I know that the path that I'm on at the moment is not designated as a mountain bike trail. I have seen a couple of mountain bikers on this route, on this path while I've been walking, but it's not designated solely for them. So they're paying attention to what they're doing. I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. Nobody's racing around. The path is very wide and we can keep out of each other's way, so it is safe for me to walk along here. I'm just coming to a spot now where I want to take another composition. I've shot it before from the opposite side. I want to shoot it from this side today. I don't know if it'll work any better or any worse than the previous composition, but there's some stepping stones along here and they're beautiful. I photographed them before, like I say, from the other side of the little brook that they cross. So I'm going to try and capture them from this side today. Guys, I've just seen a family walking their dog and they've got their drone stuck in a tree behind me. I've left them to it to try and get it out. Anyway, I took those last two photos of the stepping stones. I can't decide which is my favourite, so I'll show you them both anyway. I shot one from one side where I wanted to shoot from in the first place, and I shot one from the other side where I've previously shot from before. And like I say, I can't decide which I prefer. But I really wanted to say that I really enjoy having you guys come along on these walks with me. It's great to just be out and about in nature and enjoy our surroundings, and I hope you appreciate that too. From all of the comments that I get on my videos, it looks as though you do appreciate it and you've got a lot of things to say about my photos and my videos and how much you enjoy them. So thank you all for that. Just on that note, as a group, we have all now walked about 6 kilometres this morning in about an hour and a half of walking, which is good going. I mentioned earlier I wanted to try and speed the video up. I don't really want to try and speed the video up. I don't want to speed up the walk, that's for sure. I like the idea of slowing down and just being able to appreciate what's around us. But also, when I'm slowing down, I find that it's much easier to concentrate on a potential composition when I see one. But I am conscious of time today. I started off at the Clifford Arms, as you remember, and I want to finish off at the Clifford Arms, but I want to get back there in time for lunchtime. And I've been looking on their website and looking at their menu. It all looks beautiful. I had a beautiful ploughman's lunch the last time I was there, but they only serve food until 2 p.m, so I'm conscious that it's midday now, and although I've probably done a good 3/4 of the walk anyway now, I'll also be slowing down for the last section as we walk through Shugborough and the estate, because I think that might be rather interesting. I know for a fact that there's going to be at least a couple of shots there that I could see when I started the walk last time, as I was starting just outside the Shugborough estate. So walking through that estate now is going to provide us with some lovely shots. But obviously that means I'm going to be slowing down a little bit, and it means that I may not get back to the Clifford Arms in time to get some lunch. I should do, but in the event I don't, I'm going to get back on the bus from the Clifford Arms and go into Stafford and get my lunch there. It'll probably be a late lunch. That's okay, that's not a problem, I can deal with that. I've got all day really. So I'm just going to keep walking now and see how far I get. I forgot to mention, guys, those last 2 shots of the stepping stones are both taken at f16, 1/8 of a second and ISO 100. And they're just beautiful images, 35mm. So I really enjoyed them. I am now on a path which I believe is called the Staffordshire Way, and this leads us into Shugborough Hall and the Shugborough estate, and from there I'll be able to walk in a very straight line straight through the estate, hopefully capturing a few interesting compositions along the way. Guys, that there is Hadrian's Arch. I don't know how well you can see that through the trees. I don't even know for sure if it's the same Hadrian, Emperor Hadrian, who built the wall to keep the Scottish out of England. It may well be, but that is Hadrian's Arch, and I think it's going to be worth taking a shot here. Once I've taken this shot, there is a walk now that goes straight through the Shugborough estate. It's a free walk, I can walk through there perfectly fine, and it only takes about 25 minutes now to get back to the Clifford Arms. So along that route there's going to be a few interesting shots along the way hopefully, and then we'll get back to the Clifford Arms. Well and truly on the Shugborough estate now, but I wanted to stop here and show you this because that there is the Tower of the Winds, which I think is quite appropriate today because it's quite breezy as I stand here in the open. I'm going to stop and take a photo here. I'm right on a path now that carries me through the Shugborough estate. Some areas of that are National Trust estate, but some areas are open access with public footpaths, and that's the path that I'm currently on at the moment. So I'm going to quickly take a shot of this and then carry on along the path. This path takes me straight away to Great Haywood and so about 15 to 20 minutes away. So again, I've got very many more shots. Possibly this could be the last one more just across the bridge along the way here. So I'll take a photo of this and move. That behind me is Shugborough Hall. I don't know how well you can see it from here, I'm quite a distance away. I've had to stop and get a photo of that F16, I believe, 1/20th of a second, ISO 100, and I've shot it somewhere around about 70 to 85 millimeters. I think there's two shots, one at about 70, one at about 85. I can't decide which I prefer, but I'll put the image up on screen now for you. In the meantime, I'm going to head just up the path here to what I think is going to be the last composition of the day, and that's Essex Bridge. Never been there before, but it's right in front of the Clifford Arms pub. From the bridge itself, once you cross the bridge, you get to the Clifford Arms in about 2 or 3 minutes. So it's literally just a few minutes walk there to get to the pub, and I'll be there. But I'm going to take a picture of the bridge first. That is us back almost at the Clifford Arms pub now. I just get to this road junction and it's right on the corner. I did walk across the Essex Bridge and tried to walk down to the side of it to try and get a photo of that. I don't know how well it turned out. If it's turned out any good, I'll put it on the screen for you at the end of the video. And also, I then crossed, after the Essex Bridge, I crossed back over the canal bridge and took a photo of the canal bridge itself from underneath. So I'll also put that up in the video as well. But in the meantime, I'm here now. Right behind me is the Clifford Arms pub, where I'm going to go and have my lunch now, or at least to check if they're still serving food. And once I've done that, I'll get the bus back to Stafford. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this vlog, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and also please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And I look forward to seeing you again on another vlog very soon. Bye for now.